I'm recording on this camera.
Cool. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, we're live. You're welcome. Welcome, Kapa. Thanks, Darren. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Good. Can't complain. I'm in Toronto. That's nice. Feels good.
That's you, things. Like, we were talking about earlier before we get on camera. It's like, but like you came here for one of your friends had a tour. Yeah, way back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you're working with the engineer.
Yeah.
I saw you posting though on the Instagram reel.
Yeah, been doing that.
Yeah, it's like I feel it's like entire new studio we created.
Yeah. I mean, that studio always has been around. It's been around since like Kali Tunnel.
Okay.
So, and Dennis has been around for a long time too. Like, he very much knows majority of the Asians in Vancouver, like in Vancouver City. So, yeah, he's always had that studio around. Because I always had my own studio, so it never went to his. But we shut down our studio during COVID. There's no more because there's no work, right?
Right there, that studio.
That studio's pretty big, yeah. So he's been around for a long time, and I've known Dennis even before I went to audio school. So it was like when I was oh man, I'm not the same age, but like when I was like 20, I think like 18, 19, that's when I met Dennis. Ever since then, but like we never, because I met him through another buddy, because he's kind of in like the rock world. The band was always into like more like hip hop and rap stuff. So we didn't really click in that way. It isn't until recently, now that I've grown up, and he's older now, and that's when we kind of start fucking with each other.
Yeah. And that's just like, what made you more like, what in your music journey, what made you like very more open-minded to like other genres and open yourself up in this subversion?
I guess I just got bored. I think that's what happened. It's just like I just felt like doing trap beats and that kind of music with the energy stuff, which is like, it's fun, but I was just doing it so much that I got bored, and then everything got stagnant. So I just feel like I wasn't growing as an artist, and then I was bored, and then it took some time to be like going through like shitty shit with the new stuff, because you know how it is. Like once you get to that, I guess that peak of where you're at, you just kind of, you're like, man, like how do I push through? So now there's a new form, but yeah, it took a little bit of like going back into the lab and just like breaking stuff out, destroying it, and then going through the places where you're like, oh man, I'm fucking shitty, I'm like so bad at this, like what? And then because of that, I formulated something new, and I was like, oh, I actually like this stuff, I actually like this, and then slowly it became like, oh shit, I can actually do a lot more genres and just like that one type.
Yeah,
the hype stuff. Yeah,
like because we last talked, we were working on something very different. So we're in the studio. Yeah, culturalist too.
Yes.
And I was just experimenting, because that's before I went back to China.
That's
right. China, I experimented this entire Beautiful Nightmares EP.
Yeah.
And came slowly, like I don't know what to call it back then, but like I think in a more contemporary way to call it, it's more like psychedelic R&B.
I would say so, for sure. Yeah, you definitely have that vibe.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to say the Weeknd now, but like almost like the Weeknd, like in that era where he was in that dark, you know what I mean, like that kind of vibe. But it doesn't, like, it's just that I think it's the mood that you have, but not necessarily the sounds or the creations is different. But I feel like it's just, you just have that kind of vibe to it. It's just that, that kind of darker. It's really that album or EP that you just released.
No, I appreciate it. Like mood, it's a really good way to call it, because it's like, to me, just like, let's go with that feeling, whatever feeling in. But sometimes what really troubled me, that one of my jazz friends was able to help me out, Daniel, actually. I don't know if he related me, Daniel Dawn, but he was working with me a couple of days back in the studio, and he was just like giving me that very jazz breakdown of like mapping out the entire mapping out every aspect in a musical production that you need to map out in order for you to constantly explore and constantly like pick and to expand your arsenal. Like that sounded very abstract to me until we actually sat down in the studio, and he was like, man, do it. Because like he produced for a lot of artists, right? I think he produced for Iru.
Oh, crazy!
Iru. He did the saxophone for him.
That's it.
Yeah, sure. And then so he was telling me about that stuff, and I was like, cool. And we got here, he was right there, put on the headphones. The song was showing it earlier, you know, and he's like, scratch the entire shit. And I'm like, fuck, what do you mean? I finished it. No, scratch the entire shit. And I mute the entire tracks, and then he's like, okay, do something new here. Because he was telling me about this whole idea of like the approach of mapping things out.
Yeah.
A very jazz perspective. And I didn't get it. I didn't get it until I really like just did it. You know, because like we talked about earlier, because as musicians, I feel like we go for that feeling, and whatever that feeling is, we go for it. But then he was telling me it's like a sort of addiction. It's like you get the feeling right, but musically it could be better retuned. But because the feeling is right, it hits your dopamine. They feel like that's right, and they kind of like plateau for it.
Yeah.
So I really had to learn how to dissociate. Okay, we have the mood, because you said mood. I didn't even think about that. But I was like, okay, it's essentially a mood. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're creating a mood, okay, we're all, let's say sadness, right? If this makes me sad, in a way, well, that means there's something to it.
Yeah.
But there's always the idea of that, like that. The state he used to say is like freedom in the groove. It's that find the groove to push it even forward. Like, okay, cool, you got the sad now. No, scratch the sad. The sad is there. Let's do the music to the next level. And that is like, what the fuck, you know? That is thing. I didn't think about that. And that really broke me out of like, I feel like I was in a very paralyzed state.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. I feel like there's many. That's why I love music so much, because there's many ways to do one thing. Like there's many ways to make a song, essentially. And I feel like a lot of the times it just takes like a friend or just something in your life, or like just some sort of experience that you need in order to help you get to that next step or next level, right? And I feel like it's really important for musicians and stuff like that that's, you know, currently pursuing this as a career. It's just like, yeah, like you're going to get stagnant at some point, and like the music career is like a roller coaster ride. It's like you get up and down, you get up, you get down. And those moments when you're at the bottom are the moments that help you propel you to like the next level of your artistry, you know? And it just takes like your friend, Daniel Dong, for me, I think the reason I got on my show was because for some reason, I always had this aptitude for like just being better. Like I just always wanted to be the best or better than what I currently am. And I'm always, because I'm the oldest in my family, so I've always been like kind of involved. So I wasn't fortunate to have friends like parents I knew to be like trying to student like do this or whatever. But I just felt like I was sucking, and mentally I was just like, how can I be better at this, or how can I like take myself out of whatever it is here and go to the next step. And I just kind of thought about, okay, so I only do this stuff, the sound, and why do I want to do the sound? And then like, okay, what and who do I want to be? And then those like little steps became like what I am right now. And it really is, honestly, I'll be honest, like the reason why I'm here now is because I kind of went back to my childhood. I don't know if you know this, but like when I was a kid, the reason why I got to become an artist now is because when I was a kid, I remember getting a burnt CD from from my friend in elementary school, and I think it was grade 7, so that would make me 12. He gave me a burnt CD because it's funny because he was telling me like, you should listen to this new artist, and he was like, I was like, who is this? Because we're all listening to like Snoop Dogg and like whatever, right? And then he was like, you should listen to this new artist. This artist, Chinese rapper, dope. Like, this new artist, awesome. And he was saying, like, his name was fucking Jay Chou. And then so at the time we were dogging this kid because he's from Hong Kong, so he kind of flies back and forth, so he's kind of fob, right? So we're dogging him, like, man, who's this fucking gay child? Like, we're just making bad shit. And then he's like, let me burn you a CD, right? And it was because back in there we used to burn each other's CDs. So he burned me a CD, and then he played me. I took it home because I like music, so I went home, listened to the song. Like, it was like, "Cool, let the dogs out," and then there was like some Snoop Dogg songs, some Jay-Z stuff, and then out of nowhere, the very last song was a Jay Chou song. It was Tornado, and it was that lick. It was that piano, like da da da, that. And then I was like, yo, what is that? Because I've heard that at church because my little cousin played that same song, and I thought my cousin, I thought he made that. I thought he created that piano lick because I was like, yo, this song is dope. But I just assumed that he made it. But then when I heard it from this artist, I was just like, what the fuck? You can use piano, because I was a classic pianist, right? I was like, you could use piano and be cool, like make it cool. And then so I remember I just kept listening to that CD over and over because there was that one song that was on there. And then I remember my mom, we all go through this. My mom was like, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, wow. I remember I was like, very like, I was like, Mom, I want to be an artist one day. I want to be like Jay Chou. And like, as I'm talking about it, like, I just feel so happy because like, it was just one of those things that like kind of just like makes you happy and stuff like that. Like, it's just bringing joy because like and it's such a pivotal moment in my life. Like, I just kind of, I can remember exactly like where the kitchen was, or where we were in the kitchen. I can remember the kitchen floor. Like, I can remember that room. I could it was such a, like, if I close my eyes, I can kind of smell what it smells like. It was just that impact. And then for some reason, just along the way through the journey of my life, like, just because, like, things like, growing up as very poor in poverty and stuff like that, and trying to find my way to make money that I got outside of music, and then for music pulling me back, and then getting to the point where I was like, you know what, I'll just do like the cool stuff, which is the hip hop and the trap and stuff like that, because I had that sort of lifestyle anyway. So I was like, I might as well emulate that in the music and talk about it. And then all the way to where I just feel like everything was very stagnant, because you can only talk about that life for so long. It was like, because I've only experienced it for like, it wasn't like my whole life, so I can't really I had other experiences too, but I was like, it doesn't really fit the brand, or like, how am I supposed to fit everything? So I think that was where it leads me to now, to that point where I was like sitting in the studio and I was like, okay, what can I fucking make that is more authentic to me, and that I can be myself and do what the fuck I want? And then that goes all the way back to that Jay Chou moment with my mom.
Bro, that's powerful. I appreciate that, because I had a similar moment just not couple months, maybe like a year ago.
Cool.
When I said that.
Yeah.
Because I know you're doing this full time right now.
Yeah.
And I would say I did full time as well. And that was for, I had no money, right, at that time. And then it was like, because we both really fell in love with music and started doing like music and become organized with music through, at least for me, through hip hop. So yeah, exactly. This is what got me like organized, and okay, this is a song, this is like something produced, this, that. So like hip hop really introduced me into that realm, so I feel like that was really powerful. And it was because hip hop, we able to meet you, Cloudy Tunnel, and all them guys in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Ring City, it was, I think it was called Exposure, at the Exposure show. Yeah, back then, I think it was about 17, 16, 17-ish.
Yeah, so like that.
Yeah.
That's when Canadian-Taiwan was kind of on the up in Vancouver. Yeah, we were doing some stuff. Yeah, I still remember the first time we met, actually. It was a pretty cool experience. I don't think it was a Cloudy Tunnel event. I think it was a local event that a local promoter put on. I think it was a Caprice, right? Or something like that. And I remember you were underage. And then you were with your buddy, and then I think I was outside having a cigarette, smoking. And then you're like, yo. He's like, yo, I can't get in. And I was like, why not? He's like, yo, I'm underage. And I was like, okay, don't worry, I got you. And then so I went to go talk to the promoter. And then I was like, yo, like, this is my boy. It's like, can we? And then he's like, yeah. And then so we went through the back door, remember? Do you remember that shit? And then you guys were in there and then I was like, shit, let's pretty fucking dope. And like, that's how we met.
Yeah, I was playing with beats back then over.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, that chick is sound, man. And I was like, and I learned so much about you with music, and I think that, man, that leads me, especially not shortly after that, we had each other, right? It's you had the device interview.
That's right, yeah, with the China,
you had the device interview. Right. And that was, like, reading that one was very powerful, man. Like, do you want to expand it to the audience? To talk about that?
I mean, like, I'll make it short because I've said a lot in the music that I make. So if you like wanted to know the kind of the details of everything, like you just kind of listen to the music, and the new music coming out probably have the little bits and pieces about the story, but just so like we're not sitting here for like 3-4 hours, like listening to my whole entire life. So prior to, I guess, going into like music mode, I've always like been very how can I say, it's like empathetic to my mother because my dad wasn't around when we were growing up. And I've always helped her, like growing up as a kid. Like I've always like she would have 2 jobs, and then she would, on the weekend, she would go like deliver newspapers downtown Vancouver. So on the weekend, because I didn't have school, so I would go help her. Or like this was like midnight, like nighttime, like 1, 2, 3 in the morning. That we would go pick up the newspapers and then bring like the staff to downtown, and then she would be downstairs folding the newspapers so they look like someone's delivering it, right? And then I would be the one that's running up and down the hotels essentially, and going to every room and dropping out the newspapers, right? So we were doing that like since I was like 15, 16, just work on the weekend. And I just see how hard my mom's working as like a single mom. Let's say she's single. So my dad they were still married, but he just wasn't around at the time. So I just kind of saw that, and then I wanted to pursue music, but I knew that my mom wasn't going to be able to afford the schooling for me. And I know there's student loans and stuff like that, but I just didn't understand the concept of debt when I was younger. So then I was like, okay, what is the quickest way for me to make this money so then I can go to school and then pursue this career that I want? And obviously at the time, we're just all 小屁孩, we're 混的嘛, like we were just idiots, I guess. So we're just delinquents is the word. We're just delinquents. And so like a bunch of my friends, like we were all, because like we're all the kind of the same, just poor, and like we're just like, okay, how the fuck do we do all this shit? So a few of my friends already started like kind of just starting to do business on streets, and then they were making really good money. And then so at the time I remember I just got my driver's license, and I was delivering pizza. So I kind of like knew the map of the city, but the pizza gig was like, I didn't get paid I didn't get paid well. It wasn't enough. I was like, man, this is too fucking slow. I need something that stacks quickly. I see my friends like fucking, my friends going to like fucking karaoke's and just fucking throwing money on the table. Like, what the fuck are you making this shit? Like we're all like 17, 18, like how? And then so then a friend of mine, who is I was super close with now, because it's funny because he got me in and he got me out. So because I was like talking about the money shit, and he's like, yo, like, why don't you do this shit? Just fucking, you don't have to sell it, just be the driver, and then they'll pay you, you know, based on the day, whatever, the percentage. I was like, okay, sick. And then so I ended up driving for that shit. And then ultimately what happened was the guy that I was driving for ended up in jail. And then so the guys that were running the phone, they had me kind of take over. And then so that's kind of how I funneled into the whole trafficking game. It was just, I was literally by accident, but I think it was like super lucky because there was a bunch of things that could have gone wrong. Like the phone, the police already had it. They had it for like 3 years or whatever. But then I feel like that's essentially how I got caught, was because like, as I'm so inconspicuous, just like the way that I look. I don't look like the type to, I look like, especially like I look like a kid that's going to school, you know, so it was really smart. I was just really smart and sly with the shit. So I always had a backpack in the back. So it looks like if I ever get pulled over, I just tell them, oh, I just came from university. I just came from SFU, or if I'm close to UBC, I just came out going home from UBC, because it's like usually it's like 3, 4 in the morning. Like, what the fuck are you doing on the road? Like, so late, especially you're young, right? I'm studying. So like that's why I was always able to get away with a lot of stuff. But then because the phone was tapped, that number, so it was actually that one day, I can still remember this day. It was the one day that everything was dead. Like for some reason, that's why I feel like it's divine intervention, because for some fucking reason that day the phone did not ring at all, the whole fucking day. I was like, what the fuck? And the phone usually rings like a lot, like just constant. It wasn't ringing at all. I think because maybe it was tapped. So then they stopped the calls from coming in, but it didn't ring at all the whole day. And so then I was like, man, we're not making shit. So I get a call, and then at the time, like we were in South Burnaby, we're working in South Burnaby. So we get a call, and the call came from Poco, and they're asking for, they're too small of a number. And I was like, no, I'm not going from South Burnaby to Poco. You guys crazy? I was like, go get some more money and then call me back. And then literally actually 30, 40 minutes later, they fucking called me back asking for more. And then this time it was enticing. I was like, we haven't worked all day. Like, we haven't had any drops. This is a big one from out of town. We could probably charge it more because for the whatever time fee that we wanted to charge this guy, right? So I ended up showing up to this spot with another, I wouldn't say my friend. And you'll find out later why. But we showed up to the spot. Everything looked all right. The guy looked a little bit too clean, so I kind of held on to the drugs. Like, I was just kind of had a bad feeling about that guy. I was like, man, this homeless guy, like, is just, like, too clean. You know, just like, what the fuck? And so, like, I showed him with, on my palm, under, because we have this rule. I was like, the windows we never roll it all the way down. It's always, like, at least, like, one arm. You can only fit one arm into the car, because if you roll it all the way down, you can get juked, like, or people can, like, grab you and shit. So we always make sure that we keep it so it's just enough for, like, one arm to come in, you know? So I kept that, and then I made sure that I wasn't gonna get jacked. So I remember I put it super low underneath the window sill, and then just so you could see it, because I wanted to see his money first. I have no idea who this guy is, right? And then so I remember I was like, here's the shit, and I was like, I'm like just a natural salesperson, so I'm like, yo, this is like the best shit. It's the whitest shit you're ever gonna see, like in your life, like. And then it's like, keep calling me, because like that's how we were hustling, right? And then so I remember he showed me the money, so he had the money in the car. Kind of, I never grabbed it though, but then I had the pieces down, and then he had the money in the thing. And then I remember when he had his money in the thing, he kind of just looked like behind the car, and then that's when I started getting sketched. I was like, what the fuck? So I closed my arm and I looked behind me, and then I shit you not, because my buddy went outside to grab a cigarette. I see him walking towards the car, and just him drop, and I see the first cop like go and fucking arrest him. I'm like, oh my god. And then so I look at this guy fucking dropped the fucking money in my car, like, you fucking bitch. Because then, like, now, like, it looked like I accepted the money, right? I'm like, oh my god. And then so I looked at him, and then he's like, I was like, this guy's a fucking pig. So I took the fucking crack, And I swallowed it because there was no evidence, right? So I fucking swallowed it. I remember him yelling, he's like, he just swallowed it. And it's funny because like, we usually have 2 beers, which is like 2 ounces. And the rest we keep a stash, but I would keep 2 beers in like a Kinder Surprise egg because it's easy to pop open and like easy to swallow. So then I had 2 beers in my underneath my nut, and then I took it and I swallowed those fucking 2 ounces. Like I haven't swallowed it, but it was in my mouth. And then the guy fucking grabs my throat, like he literally grabs it, like, and he grabs it. He's like, he's swallowing. And then I was just like fighting my hardest to get out of his fucking choke, so I can grab. Because I remember there's a bottle of water here, so I was trying to grab it so I could swallow the shit. I would just deny that I ever had anything. I mean, you guys are crazy, right? But I couldn't grab the thing, and he had me so tight that, and it was fucking dry. So then I choked on it. It was like accidentally fucking choked on it. And then I remember the guy was like, "You're choking on it. You're choking. Just spit it out," because they wanted to spit it out, right? So they have the fucking evidence. And then I was like, "No way." So I guess he felt bad. So I felt his hand start loosening up. So I broke away from it, and I grabbed the water and I fucking drank it, and then I swallowed everything. I was like, "Fuck!" And then that's when I was like, "Okay, I can relax now. I'm good." And that's when they broke the fucking passenger window with the baton, and then the fucking guy, one of the cops came, boom, and just decks me in the fucking face. I'm like, what the fuck? So at this point, I'm like, oh shit. Fucking glasses all on the floor, and then like this guy fucking opens so stupid. He could have opened the car door for like so he finally unlocks my car, opens the fucking door, and then like just drags me out of the car onto some fucking glass. I still have like some scars from glass, like on my chest. I'm like on the ground. And then so they arrest me, I'm handcuffed, and then put me back in the paddy wagon. And then my buddy is in a different one. He goes to jail. I go to the hospital because I'm injured. And then so this is where it's funny, because at the hospital, the doctor, this is why you don't trust nobody. Like, you don't trust nobody, especially if you're in the fucking game. You don't trust nobody. I remember I was sitting there at the thing. No one came and took care of me. I still had glass like in my elbow and my chest, and I'm still bleeding.
When you were bleeding,
yeah,
and they were not doing. They're like guards, and
there was just 2 police officers standing in front of me, and I was just on this fucking bed, but no one came and took care of me. And it was funny because they were playing good cop, bad cop. And I remember I remember there's this fucking scene where he's like, "Yo, so like, I'm the good cop comes." He's like, "What do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh man, I just want to be a musician, man. I just want to be an artist." And that's I said. And he's like, "Fuck, what did I say to this kid?" And then it's like he walks in, the bad cop comes. He's like, "Yo," he's like, "You know, we got to get the drugs that you swallowed like pumped out of your stomach, or else like you're gonna overdose. Like, we know how much you took. Like, they're trying to scare me." And then I was like, just like, obviously I was kind of onto them. So it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I didn't swallow anything. And then they're like, "No, you swallowed it." And then so I wouldn't give him anything. And then so they finally brought in the doctor. The doctor's like, "Let me take a look at your arm," like trying to be nice, take the fucking glass out of my chest and shit. And then the fucking doctor was like, I think we need to do like a stomach pump on you. Because apparently you've ingested some you've injected some substance, and we want to make sure that we're gonna overdose.
In this situation, because
Yeah.
but you took it.
I took it.
You took it, but were you under the influence then?
No, because like we wrapped it in a garbage bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you swallowed the entire bag alongside.
No. So each individual piece is wrapped in garbage.
Oh,
bag.
okay.
Yeah, in bags, in a plastic bag.
Okay.
Like it's usually it's garbage. So it's like those heavy duty like.
Then what? So that doesn't mean you're safe. You won't get the effect.
I mean, if the stomach acid eats through the bag, yeah, I would still be fucked. But I always, because like our bosses told us to wrap shit. So there's ways to wrap it. So the way that we wrap it is like we wrap it really thick. You know, even where we tie it, we wrap it super thick. Like a lot of people like to stretch it, and then it just makes the paper really thin or the plastic really thin. We just make sure to just stretch it a little bit, and then we burn it off with a lighter. So it's like really thick plastic that's in our stomach, so it doesn't get eaten through. Even it just pass through our body.
So you know you were fine.
I knew I was fine. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, like, I only ended up finding like 2 beers. I had like small pieces missing. I just felt like, fuck, whatever. Those are so fucking tiny. It's like, oh, it is what it is, right? But yeah, so I knew I wasn't gonna overdose. I knew I wasn't gonna OD, and I knew I was good. So then I just told them, I was like, yo, like, I'm good. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then the doctor's like, no, apparently the cop said you swallowed something. I was like, no, I didn't swallow anything. He's like, are you sure? Like, you just kept pushing. I was like, no, I didn't swallow anything. And then, so they couldn't get that shit out of me. And then I remember with the doctor walking over, then just shook his head and they just rushed him back. And then I got strip searched at the hospital, at the hospital. And then they ended up taking me back to the to holding in Port Moody. And then that's where I thought it was fucking weird, because I was ready to fucking sleep, because I was like, I'm gonna be here for a minute, because like I'm for sure fucked, right, or in some sort of way. So then I took the fucking blanket and I was like getting ready to go to sleep, and then the cop literally 5 minutes after came, was like, okay, you can leave now. I was like, what the fuck? At that time I didn't think much of it, and then I got out and I realized like my buddy was there. And then like they gave me back my car keys, and my whole car smashed. Like there's fucking glass everywhere on the seats and shit. And I'm driving home, and at that time I didn't think of that. I was like, oh fuck, super lucky day. But then I was like, oh shit, buddy was in the holding for like 3 hours. They probably interrogated him, and the motherfucker probably snitched, because like when it got to the trial, my lawyer was like, yeah, there's no way you can win. And I was like, why? I was like, they don't have any pieces, like we're swallowing everything. And she didn't say anything, but what she said was, they have too much evidence on you. And I was like, what evidence? And then she was like, just, they have your phone number, they have the thing, blah, blah, blah. They just have too much. I was like, and at the time I still trusted my friends. So I didn't think he snitched. But then after the whole incident, I realized just the way that he was just like very distant. And like, we just kind of, and I was like, this is fucking weird, dude. Like, what is going on? But lucky for me though, music definitely saved my life, because it was like the trial was like in a year, and was set back to a year, because like I kept getting remands because I just did lawyers and stuff. I had to get things straight, and it was probably because my friend had, and it's funny because my friend got his charges dropped prior to the trial. So that's why I'm just like, yo, this motherfucker, yo.
Yeah.
And then my lawyer, so at the time, I don't know what got to me, but I was just like, man, like after that whole incident, I got arrested 5 more times, because I went back to work after I got released. I'll just go back, just make money for lawyers. So I went back. So I arrested another 5 times for breach of conditional release. So I had these fucking rules are so fucking stupid. Like the first breach I did was because like, one, I'm not supposed to have a phone on me, and like at all. So if the cops ever search me, like I had a phone on me, that's right to jail.
What?
Yeah, it's like crazy. It was like fucking drugs and fucking phone, like no pagers, nothing to communicate or anything like that. But then I had a stupid ass driver, and he got us fucking pulled over, and then I went to holding again for that shit. And then I came out, they gave me another conditional sentence because they said that. So then the next time it said that I can't have any phones on me, and I also can't have phones in the car.
They keep changing.
Yeah, every time I got arrested, it just kept changing. So I couldn't have phones on me, I couldn't have phones in the car. So I was like, and then another time we got fucking arrested. We came out, and it's like, now I can't be in the car with the phones. I can have phones on me, and I also can't be in a car that's not owned by the fucking registered owner. So the registered owner has to be the one driving the vehicle, or else I can't be in that car. Okay. So that means I can't take transit. I can't You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't take any transportation. I had to walk everywhere. Essentially, is what they're telling me. Like,
So they tried to restrain you or ground you.
yeah. Without, yeah. So I would just keep getting in more and more trouble. But thankfully, thanks to God, like, I was able to kind of beat those 5 trials. And I remember the first time I beat it, it was just, I don't know what happened that day. I think it was, it was like divine intervention, because I was able to go into, I had, at the time I was registering for music school, and I'm not a high school graduate. So I don't have a diploma for high school. You could go into like these schools, you need some sort of like diploma, right? So I was lucky because I always loved music as a kid. Like, it's just been my joy. So like, as a young kid, I always played piano. Like, I just played it to the highest level I can. Like, I've competed provincially and stuff like that. And so I used my recognition in piano to get into school. Because I remember talking to the lady for audio, and I was like, she's like, I looked at the thing, I was like, you need a high school diploma? And then she's like, yeah. And I was like, I never graduated from high school. I was like, can I still do this? And I felt like my life was dependent on her yes or no. And she's like, why do you like, what makes you think you can go into like music school? And I was like, well, I played piano since I was a kid, and I've gotten to like this state. And then she's like, okay, we can use that, and then you just have to write a letter to the dean and then see if he'll accept you. And I was like, all right. I wrote the letter, and then I showed him my credentials, and then that's how I got in. And then in retrospect, and then just because I got accepted, court date for the trafficking charge. So originally the Crown wanted to sentence me to like 9 months. They wanted to send me to 9 months in prison because that was my first offense. And then my lawyer told the judge, like, oh, he actually enrolled into music school. And then so she was like, can we reduce that sentence to be lighter, like to be quicker, so then he can be going to school. And then so the judge was black. And the judge asked me, he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I just want to be an artist. Like, I just want to make music. And he's like, what kind of music do you do? I was like, I do hip hop, rap. And he's like, okay. And he stood there and thought about it for a second. And he's like, okay, Mr. Cow, I have 2 options here. I could send you to prison, where you're going to meet a bunch of other people that are doing the same exact thing that you've been on the street. You're either going to come out of that sentencing a changed person, or you're going to be deeper in the game.
Oh, shit.
Or what I can do is I can have you stay out, you be on your best behavior as possible, and you go to school for your whatever dream. And then he's like, which one do you think I'm going to choose? And then I was like, I hope it's the former. Wait, is that right? No, I hope it's the other, the second choice. And he's like, yeah. He's like, so like, I'm going to give you 9 months house arrest. You have to be home after school. You can't do anything. You can only go to school and then go home. Go to school, go home. You can't do anything else. And I was like, okay, I could do that. And then he's like, but then you have to do community hours, and you also had to report to your PO, parole officer, every week, and just to check up on and see what you're doing.
Wow.
And then I was like, I feel like that changed the trajectory of what my life could have been. Because if I went in, there's this thing with the whole crew that I was with. It's like, when you're going in, it's actually you're going on vacation. Because you're just going in to chill. Like, you're not doing anything illegal. You're not fucking doing any of these. You're just chiller, right? It's actually just vacation. It's chill, right? Because everybody that's in the crew is in there, so that you're protected anyway. So you're just visiting family, essentially. Going on vacation, just relaxed in jail. So I was fortunate enough not having to do that and like go through that life, essentially, and a trajectory towards like the music world, like, and so I started doing music, and I had those court cases though, those 5. So the first one with the, because it was after that case, the first one, I remember the Crown was like very, this is what I feel like the band dimension, because she was very cocky. Because I remember she thought she got me, so she was like, I remember I was smoking outside, and then she fucking walked up to me. She's like, "Oh, are you so and so?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "Yeah, like, you know, we're gonna go through the court thing. It's like, you know," and then she was trying to fish information out for me, and I was just playing dumb. I didn't know shit, and then so I was like, I didn't really give her much, and then I went to the duty lawyer the other day, and I was like, "Yo, like, I have this court case. It's about me breaching my conditions. Is there any way that I can win?" And so he just kind of skimmed through the thing, and he's like, "Look, there's not much you can do, but what you can ask is like, you can ask the police officers, like, did you ask me if I knew that I had these conditions?"
Wow.
Yeah, and then so I was like, okay. So I went to court, and then like, there's 3 officers that arrested me. So then I asked every single one of them that same fucking question, and then on the stand, yes. And then so the judge was like, the Crown was like, thought she had it, because she's like, fucking, this guy's going to jail for 7 days, like, you know. And then so she fucking just like, okay, you're on a case, close the case. And then the judge kind of just was kind of, I guess, I don't know what she was feeling, but I guess she was like, okay, she's like, okay. And then so she was talking, the judge was talking to me. He's like, "Mr. Cow," he's like, she's like, "I have no doubt that you were in that vehicle during this arrest. I have no doubt that you were there. But I don't think there was significant enough evidence to charge you for your breach. So, Mr. Cow, you're free to go." And then the crowd was like, the lady like closed the thing. She was like, motion to reopen the case. And then the judge was like, "You already closed the case."
Oh, wow.
Yo, she fucked up.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know. She was like, I was like, wait, does that mean like I can leave now? Like we're done? And then she's like, "Yeah, you can go." And I remember I fucking walked out of the car. So I was like, after all those, I'm like, what?
Wow.
Free.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the mind intervention.
I just imagine how strong you must have been, you know, through all that, the period, you know.
I don't think I was strong. I think it was just naive. I don't think there was strength. I think it was just ignorance.
Because, like, you're in it, or you're not summarizing. You're like, the whole, I call, like, I see some people say that when you're in a situation like that, you're just in it.
Yeah.
Okay. I check these lists, and you just do it. But then the whole reflection, and like, kind of like a soldier going to war, the trauma comes afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, I guess I wasn't even, like I said, I was super naive, so I wasn't checking no list. I was just like, you know, when you get in trouble with your mom or whatever, you're like, okay, how do I get out of this? Like, this is essentially what that was when I was going through it. Like, and then like just looking at it in retrospect, I was just like, oh shit, what the fuck? Like, you could have gone so many different fucking ways, but because I was so ignorant to the possibilities that made me had almost no fear.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because I was so naive, thinking that there's no problem here, so I'll be fine. You know? Yeah. Essentially, that's how everything came about to what it is.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So I would say like I'm super lucky in that sense, and I probably used up all my luck in that time.
But so essentially, there wasn't any major that actually helped you get into music school.
How me get into music school? Yeah.
So actually, the whole thing actually benefited you. You got something out of it, but then you kind of like it all came to like a full circle.
Essentially, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. It's almost like I had to learn some lessons doing that shit, and then I was like, okay, well, this is because I don't know. I feel like honestly, like, if you're meant to do something, or like you're set up in this world that you must do something or another, like you have to like, how do you call this? Like, you have to fulfill it. It's just fucking written, you know. Especially like if you're supposed to impact something in this world, like I feel like us humans, like there's some sort of alarm in us that I guess just to do certain things, but like a lot of us just kind of dwindle that alarm or like turn it off, you know, and then that's why you kind of sway in the way that you're not supposed to go. But you know, things always pull, like it just like wherever you're supposed to, it pulls you back. Because during COVID, like at the time, I just like felt like I wasn't interested in music anymore. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't do music. I was just in this like weird gray area where I was like, okay, what am I doing with my, what do I want to do now? I totally forgot about that kid thing that I was talking about earlier, right? And I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, what can I do to make my shit better? Like, how can I elevate where I'm at now? And essentially, music just kept calling me back. Like, it just kept pulling on me. Like, even though like I wasn't as active as right now, but like I would always like just be making stuff. Like maybe not once a week, but like maybe like once a month. I was just like, oh, I feel like making something. And I would just always touch it. But then I tried other things, tried other hobbies, like, making, like, started cooking a little bit and like doing Muay Thai, playing golf. And like just trying different things and just seeing like, how I can elevate myself as a person. Because I just fucking thought like I need something to fill this void. But then it just kept always calling me back. Like I would have this thing that pops out of nowhere. It's like, do you want to do this? Or like, well, whatever. And I was, man, this thing always calls me back. But I just like wasn't mentally set to be in that mood until something like super drastic happened. And then I was like, this is my shit. Like, what can I do?
Yeah. It's really cool, bro. It's like, I came to that because earlier when we were showing the music, you're like, yeah, we're kind of in the same frequency right now. Okay. I feel like we're in the same, because I feel like how these things are all connected. Mm-hmm. It's like you coming to these realizations and then kind of like, in a way, be very grateful to see the meaning in all your life experiences.
Yeah.
And then I arrived the same way. I arrived, definitely the journey was different for myself, but it's like, I'm at a point right now where I feel it's like I see everything as a story, and then obviously being my life, I'm the main character. I feel like everybody else is in their own life, and it's like, but there's always like these pockets of stories, like these plots that you go through, and then you go through it, and it's like, okay, so like you learned a lot of things, like you see the essence in that story, and see like the divine will. You see like because like all the time I say to a lot of people sometimes, my story is like find redemption through love. Mm-hmm. I feel like we share a similarity there in essence. Yeah. And it's like for me, when I get distracted or like a lot of things, it's like I start the things that I really love always are there to remind me when I'm distracted, and they always be like, and it's always like from myself to, oh shit, maybe I may be fucked up, I maybe got distracted, or maybe like these things I could have done better looking back, but it's like it's still here for me. It never left, like the chances are always good, and I feel like I'm very lucky or great. I'm very grateful for that aspect. And like always feel like, okay, there's always the next chance, and the next chance is like now.
Yeah, almost living life in the present. Instead of having to worry about the future or how to regret the past. I feel like that's like where I'm at now, because there's like many times in my life, like regardless of music or not, I've always just been worried about the past. I'm weird. Like I used to be like, I would have a conversation with a person, and then like when I'm by myself, I would think about that conversation, just like, why the fuck did I say it like that? You know what I mean? Like it's just like super weird. I would just like think in that way, and now I'm just in I don't know if it's like mental fortitude or whatever, but I feel like a lot of like the things in life allows you to be better. Like like the pain and the suffering and all that shit that you have to go through in life that actually makes you stronger and makes you like a better person. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people that can't necessarily suffer or feel the pain, like even though I went through all that shit in my life, because I was so naive, I never actually like thought about it. You know what I'm saying? Like until like now that I'm here, like, and then this is all the realization of within the last few years that I've been just kind of sitting with myself in my own shit, and I'm smelling my own shit. I'm like, this stinks. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck is this shit stink so bad? Like, I need to clean my shit up. in order for me to be successful. So it's just been a lot of like, okay, why is this shit here and why is this shit here and why is it still here? You know, it's like, what's up with that? And that's why, I don't know. It's like another, I feel like maybe I found a purpose. Like, cause I used to do music. I'm pretty sure we all started doing music because we just wanted, we want the bitches, we want like the glory, we wanted like to be cool and just kind of just show people like, yeah, I'm better than you because I have this talent where I could make music and stuff like that. But what I want to do now is like, hopefully to like the music that I write and then to the stories that I tell in these songs, I can help resonate it with. Not, I would say maybe not make their day better, but like let them understand that, look, you're not the only one that's going through this shit right now. There's a bunch of us going through the same shit. You know what I mean? And I hope that our music can do that. And then essentially what I want to do is utilize the music so that can help like the indigenous people back in Taiwan, so then we can propel that culture a lot more. Just like how your girl was saying earlier, she's like, oh, I never knew there was an indigenous culture in Taiwan. In my brain, I was like, yeah, why don't you know? And I want to be able to use the music on like a world platform, international platform. But yeah, there's us.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I feel like that's like my purpose now. Is like I just have to represent my people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's exactly that. I'm at conclusion right now. You know, doing everything I'm doing, I feel like, you know, because what you said is perfect, right? It's that like we both found a lot of like pain and suffering through ourselves and our life, and we, in the way we kind of understood our identity in every aspect, right? And it's like I really believe in the Holy Trinity in the sense of the spirit, mind, and body. Is that sure? I might just be this Asian version of the skin, but like I have my mind and I have a soul, and all that means has a very deep meaning to it. And that meaning is only revealed to the person, to the very subjective person like myself, through experiences. Yeah. And then, but like it's about like, okay, like you like how like in Buddhism, you know, it's like it's like karma is like something that they just keep coming back to in different occasions, unless you learn that story. Yeah. So it's like shit, you know. So it's that was really when I heard that a while back, but when I really grasp onto that concept, oh shit, it's very like it's like epic moment in that sense. I felt like you know, like okay, the epiphany is like life has so much meaning. In that sense, it's like whatever you do, the end is you want to kind of like it's like it shows to like how helping others, like helping yourself in essence. Like I've been reading a lot of Martin Luther King lately. He talks a lot about Jesus, and then I think one of the biggest aspect is that like helping you like be like it comes from like it's very Kanye too. In essence, it's like I'm just trying to do me, but whoever I am, it's not just me. You know, like I because of my experiences, because of who I am in society, in relationship to like history, to society, to culture, I represent a lot. I can be a lot more. I have a lot more. And if I do a good job for myself, then I have like all these attributes that are others that I can represent. And in essence, me doing me is me showing the world that, hey, good people like us exist. And whoever we are could be global citizens, right? And then could be, as you said, native, indigenous folks in Taiwan, right? For me, it's this whole idea of like I guess for me personally, it's the East Asian civilization that Confucius would call it Hua, in essence. And so when I first got into the whole understanding, because I really very in depth started studying our own culture and history, like the very Confucius Buddhist Taoist Wu Shidao, right? This thing that bonds all different countries in East Asia together. It's when I first realized that, okay, this pocket of the world share these threes in common, and it's not divided by any nation or any boundary, you know. Like people from Vietnam knows the exact same thing somebody from Korea. You know, it's like it's not any nationalistic stuff. And when I saw beyond that and realized the deeper beauty in the philosophical concept, a lot of the ancient scholars or people just were trying to like really talk about, that felt really powerful to me, because it's like a lot of times Asian people in our world, we're like a bit lost in our identity in essence, right? Like especially growing up here, Vancouver, you know, like you different, a lot of us CBCs, immigrants, FOBs, people from different countries, whether you're from Korea, from Japan, you're from Vietnam, we're very like secluded in essence. And then, but at the same time I feel like a lot of times we don't really open ourselves up in that sense, because some part of us are yearning to figure out who we truly are. And that's something that I spend a lot of time doing. And music is that gateway that allowed me to first question everything. Because I was telling you last time we did a podcast at your studio, it was that I said something like, pain is beautiful. And you asked me something that I remember today. You said, does that mean people die, like the children died in war? Their pain is also like their suffering is beautiful in essence. And I don't know how to respond to you because I didn't have a full grasp understanding. But hearing what you just said and going through essentially the same experiences and to arrive at the same conclusions, I started to really understand how, like, you know, start to like understand more of what I'm trying to say. You know? It's like, kind of like, so what shapes you? You know? It's like, it's not about the pain or the suffering, because everybody, like, something to you might be crazy, to the other person might be a very fortunate thing in essence, right? Like, it's all subjective. And comparing pain this way, like, I went through this, you went through this, I think that's very arbitrary. What's very beautiful is, what I say, the pain is beautiful, is that it's like a circle being completing, and he's essentially is like, you're seeing the diamond after the high pressure. You see, like, being triumphant. And that, what I found was really beautiful. And every time I listen to music, I think of that, you know, because, like, yeah, every time I listen to music, I think of that moment. Think of, like, it's a diamond, somebody's best work done over and over again. It's giving you that experience, like, captures everything that's going on in their time, like the time capsule. But I get to see that. And that's what art, it really deeply attracts me to art, right? Like, more than anything, more than the materialistic or whatever. It's like me venturing into, like, genres of myself, trying to, like, figure out new things. It's all because, like, I want to see, in essence. It's like, I guess I'm more like Rick Rubin when it comes to the music and the art in essence. Isn't it? I make it for myself, right? Because I want to encapsulate that. I want to be that. I want that to be the best representation of who I am, in essence.
That's cool. Yeah. I feel that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
You gotta, I think I should probably check my phone and see if it still has battery.
Yeah, man.
But
is this one still recording?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to get the charger?
Bro, I cut it back, but I'm too here.
How do you feel?
Oh, good, man.
Yeah.
Oh, super good. Sorry, listen to that. I mean, do this. Yeah, I feel like honestly, I feel like music in essence for artists or whatever. I mean, like, I would say I make music for myself, but I like when you listen to my music, you know, I have a tendency to make it like super catchy. And I feel like it's because I'm more like, my idol is Jay Chou, and like, if you're Asian and you listen to like Chinese music, you can kind of hear that influence, and it's great. Like, it's heavy in my music. But I don't know, like, yeah, I guess like I make music because it's for me, but in a way, I also want to make it enjoyable for people that aren't necessarily like inclined. There's some music out there that's like very experimental, and it's not digestible for a lot of the major public, like the public. But maybe it's just me, but I like making music that is easily digestible.
I agree. Like, I think that's a lot to do with like communication, in a way.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I just want to, or maybe because I'm like a naturally people pleaser. So I would say people pleaser, not as the wrong way to say it, but like I'm more so like I want to make sure that you're comfortable and you're good. Like, you know, like especially when they're looking at my art and stuff like that, I just make sure like, you know, you vibe with it is, you know, I care about you. I'm like very empathetic to whoever I listen to my music. So I think that translates to like why I make it so digestible. And you know, I do make even my experimental stuff that I do, like the drug song, or like the this one I was talking about, like try to save my money until I make $1 million. That one is like very experimental, but I still kind of make it so it's like really digestible. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's just the way that I grew up, and then the way I am. I'm just a very kind person, but like you know, there's a saying like, just don't take my kindness for weakness, because that kindness can also turn 180, and I could be fucking cold. Oh, like I could be a savage too, like, you know, because I've been in the game, like I've been in the street, like, you know what I mean. So it's like I'm nice majority of the time, but if you were to fuck with me, like, no more nice guy. This is no more Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, it's like the very innate masculine, like, protective mechanism comes up in essence. Like, as you decide that, like, in a way, like, boundaries might not be the best word.
Well, perfect. Boundaries is the best word. Yeah. If you cross a boundary or cross any of my morals, yeah, then I would be a different person to you. Like, you'd be like, what the fuck happened? So I thought you was nice. I am. That's good, but I have boundaries.
Yeah, I know. That's like part of it was like maturing too, in essence.
Yes, exactly.
Growing up and also understanding, you know, in a way. But sometimes what I learned a lot too is that, you know, definitely have very strong boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've been doing a lot lately for myself, it's a lot of communication. And I've been trying to like work with like just try to like talk, and with podcasts, you see, with everything, just like really, I guess as you said earlier, right? Saying there's like a way that you can be very empathetic and also communicate your thoughts and deliver in a way that others will like be open to it.
Exactly.
And as you said earlier, right? I think that's something you're doing with your music too. And try to definitely something that I'm aspiring to as well. You know, with art and just in general.
Yeah, I just like it's weird. Like when I was coming up, I never looked at paintings the way I do now. Like, you know, I'm at the airport or whatever, and I see these paintings, and I would literally stop and look at it, even though it's fucking weird. I'm new, but then somebody just draws me to. I'm like, okay, how the fuck did this guy do this? Like, oh, like, this is actually really unique. Like, you know, we just try to decipher it. And before, when I look at paintings, it's just like, it's just a paint. I think it's just, I'm just starting to appreciate art a little bit more. You know, I feel like that fucking samurai, you know, what's his name? Matsumoto?
Oh yeah, Kongo was
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I feel like it's just that, like, to be a warrior, you need to be in touch with art, because, like, you know, or else just the world would be a savage place.
Yeah. Oh, that's deep. That's deep to say. Yeah, I was reading his book earlier too. I love it, you know, because I really, you know, you saying that, I really like.
I've heard pronounce his name wrong, so just so people know.
It's okay. It's like, I really find, you know, very happy to hear that, because I started my journey with art, not with music, but rather with painting. And I painted a lot when I was younger. So you see the canvas over there, like I was, yeah, that's actually changed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, we both paint, so we both paint a lot. I don't paint as much she still do, but like I translate that into the music. I'd probably paint like, I don't know, like, so it's beautiful, you know, because I came into the music game with that perspective. And I was like very trained as a oil painter. My grandpa, he was also oil painter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He painted Chinese, like, you know, so painting was something that really brought me into the whole artistic perspective and visual. And whenever I produce, I try to think of that. And I try to think of like, hey, this painting is color. In a way, like, yeah, how like people see color in sound. I used to believe that a lot. Now I still believe that, but I feel like when people see the color differently than everyone. Like a song to me might be dark green, but somebody might be like completely different.
Right.
Yeah. But either way, that color is this thing that beyond language that you get a feeling from.
Yeah.
And I feel like great art has a way to speak through you without just gives you that. You know how like you go to like Photoshop, there's like color palette, and there's like bunch of color codes, and there's that specific color, and the great art somehow can just like give you that specific, creates that new color to you, like, and then blends in everything else, and it's that little one thing.
Gosh, yeah.
What do you feel? What do you think about it? Have you thought about it?
I'm visually blind. Like I like just like art wise, like anything that's like visual. Like I'm not a very visual person. I'm a very like audio person. So like for me, if the audio in a movie sucks, this movie feels fake to me. Like if the sound of like whatever, the wind or whatever, the car and shit, and like I'm just like the sound weird. Like I can't dive into the movie even, and then like I can close, like if it was just an audio, like I used to love just listening to audio stories where it's just like you just hear the sounds and then you're like traveling, like, you know, through, I just like everything is just so audio for me because like I started as a pianist, right? So everything was audio. Like there's nothing, there was a piece of paper in front of me. There was like the proof, but oftentimes you have to memorize it. So there's not even no proof. So it's like I'm just literally listening to the keys and how everything's played, and like that's kind of how I create my music. It's just everything is just very audio. Like, you know, every little nook and cranny in the thing is just like very like, okay, this is like I can hear it at like 500 hertz here. She's just like 800, and it's like very audio. Visually, like, man, I'm shitty ass.
Is that how you see harmony?
How I see harmony?
Yeah.
I just hear it.
Okay, so like in the sense that
like I don't see it, but I hear it. I can hear the subtle harmonies. Yeah.
Okay, so when you hear that harmony, you identify it. What is it that you associate?
Just if it sounds good or not.
Okay, like if it's a feeling innate.
Yeah, like for example, my piano teacher hated me because I would never, because like I said, I wasn't a visual person. So I would see the note, but I would play a different note because that note sounded better than whatever the composer wrote. And I was like, this sounds better. And then and then she would always circle that same spot. And she'd be like, yo, like, what the fuck? Why do you keep playing the wrong note? I circled it like so many times. And I was like, but this note sounds better with it. Like, why? Like, it just sounds so much better to have it on like the flat instead of like the neutral, right? And then she's like, that's not what you wrote, so you have to, you know what I mean? So like ever since that, I just kind of knew that. I was like, oh, I'm not a visual person, I'm not a very audio person, because like no matter what, I would just play the wrong note. I just automatically, because it just sounds off. Like if I play that note that's on the thing and this fucking sucks, like this doesn't sound good, you know? And like that's just kind of how I've always operated. Like I've sat in my room by myself with a CD, and I would close my eyes and listen to it all day long, and I can just see all the words and all the things that's happening in the music, or like it feels like one of those like movie OPs where it's just like those sounds or classical music. I can't necessarily see colors like people do, but I can like hear the chairs. I can see, in my brain, for some reason, when I hear this stuff, I can just visualize like the people and like You know what I mean? Like it's weird. Like and then like they're floating as they're playing. Like it's weird. Like I can't necessarily visualize it like now in this world, but like in my mind, it's just playing shit. Yeah, and I'm just creating this world through the audio that I hear.
It's really cool. So when you write a song, then how is it your creative process? Like how does this help with your creative process?
I mean, my creative process constantly changes just because like you don't want to be stagnant and doing the same thing over and over because it gets boring, right? So oftentimes I'll have challenges, but what I usually do is I start off with either the scratch. So it's like I would build it off. Sometimes it would be like I would like kind of like a jazz musician. I would just improv on the keyboard, and then as I'm improvising, I'm not even thinking about what notes, what chords, or whatever I'm going into. All I'm doing is I'm just playing. And then accidentally I'll get onto something that's like, dun, dun, dun. We're like, okay, this is sick. Let's try it. Boom, boom, boom. And then the idea will come out. And then I was like, okay, this is now solid. I have the chorus. Let me build the verse off of the, I can build the verse off of the chorus that I just made. And then that's when I start getting technical. But to get the first portion, the first 8 or the 16 bars, I would literally freestyle it on the keyboard. And then I find something that is dope, and I'm like, okay, I could use this 8 bars. Let's loop this, and then utilize the same construct for that 8 bars, bring it to the first verse. Maybe I double time it or I half time it on the first verse. Now I have a verse. Okay, so now I need a bridge. So I'll just take, like, I would think like, do I need to make this bridge the same or do I make it different than the chorus and the verse? Sometimes I'm like, oh, let's go different. So let's change key in the bridge and then we'll bring it back. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, okay, the verse, let's make it a major, and then I love changing keys. So in the verse, I'll like major. I'll create a minor key for the chorus, and then in the verse, I'm like, let's major it. So then it'll be major, and then the bridge will be my transitional part to the minor, and then bring it back and forth and stuff like that. And then I would just build the drums on it. And then just recently, I've just been kind of keeping it piano and drums, and then I'm putting my vocals on it. And with my vocals is like kind of the same thing. I don't even write anymore because I feel like, because I'm dyslexic, like I just can't numbers and like letters. I always fuck that shit up. So, and I feel like it stops me from being creative because I have to think. I'm like, I have to write it down. So what I do is I just kind of jazz it. I just freestyle it. So I'm just like either like the first one obviously is gonna be the gibberish, like blah da 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 da, especially in singing, like try to figure that shit out. But then once you get into it, and then like the words, for some reason, because I'm hearing it, I'll start to formulate the words in my brain, so that each word will dictate where the thing is. It might not be the same melody anymore, but the words will now start to come. And I can piece it together, and then I'll have like a structure for the verses and the chorus for vocals, and then after that, that's when I add the other instruments to complement the melody lines that I have, and it still starts to build into a song. Yeah, or sometimes I just make the beat, and then I put the verses on it. So it just depends on like how I'm feeling at the time.
But when you're working with other artists,
yeah, same idea. If I'm working with other people, then I feel like it's best when both artists are in the studio together, because in this way the ideas really bounce off each other. Like, I guess I should promote it now. I was working with an artist in Australia, a dope artist. She's Taiwanese Australian. If you talk to her, you probably won't even know that she's Taiwanese because she has a thick Australian accent. But she's super dope, folk artist, and we ended up making a song together when she was here, when she was in Vancouver, and it was like a collaboration of like elements of hip hop and then elements of folk, and it was just like really cool how that like kind of amalgamates again. And the experience is exactly the same. I think how it started was like you can see it on my Instagram because you see her play the ukulele, and that's how like the whole song started, was because she was on the ukulele. I was on the keyboard, and then we slowly just kind of and I recorded my rap vocals last. And that's kind of how I create with other artists. I mean, like, if it's like over the internet, I feel like that's not really my thing to do over the internet, because it's just like, you know, you're constantly sending beats over. And a lot of artists just don't have that, not to dog on any artists out there, but like just don't have that work ethic, you know? Like, if I was to, like, if I work with an artist, like, you, unless I'm traveling, like now I'm in Ontario, like I would pump out verses in like a day or two. When I get the song, like, it would just be fast. I was just like, full. And you hear your fucking shit. Like, you're gonna ask Dennis, because Dennis is like, yo, how the fuck are you writing so fast? I was like, I don't fucking know, man. I need to be able to say what I need to say in that moment, in that time. And the reason why that is because I feel like a lot of videographers or photographers, like, you know, they take snapshots, right? These pictures, these videos are a snap of the timeline or the time frame that's happening during that time. So when people in the future, they come and look at this, they're like, this happened in 2023, right? And I feel like it's the same thing with audio, just so we don't really think about it in that sense. That audio that we capture, that we recorded, is the essential capsule time travel that when people in the future and listen to our shit now, they can be like, that happened in 2023. So it's like, for me, it's the same. So I try to do it so it captures that moment in that time, and captures that story or whatever you're trying to tell in that specific mind frame that you're in.
Yeah, it's like a time capsule.
Like a time capsule.
Yeah, time capsule. It's really nice. Man, wow, that's you got me heavy there, because like I often, one of my trouble is, I would say, I often decides between, like, you know, the unfinished, like, something can always be better. So what I was actually at a seminar with OVO's 40, and he was saying something that he was saying that it's about, you set a deadline, and it's about what do you do within that deadline. And then it's kind of like, okay, this song, so you finish the song by this day, right? This song has to be done. And it's like, you can do whatever you want, but this song on that day is that song. And if you don't do anything, it turns out shit, and it's that song. Then move forward to the next song. Is that something that you do yourself?
I don't necessarily have a deadline, but I can commit. Like, I'm gonna say I'm too tied to what I create. So it's like, once I've completed the process of like mixed and mastered, that's it. Like, I'm not going back into like, and especially with the songs that I like, let's just say it hasn't even gone to, I could be content with it. Like, I know from like, because I'm not really a perfectionist, but I know that like you said, music can be better than it is now, but like, I also fear the fact that I'm never gonna release the shit if I just don't commit, you know. And like, I'm a guy that commits to things like very heavily, like your event. I was gonna come, I'm fucking showing up, you know. You know what I mean? Like, I just commit to things. Like, it's just kind of how I roll. And because I feel like if you're like kind of just wishy-washy with stuff, it's like you're never gonna be successful. You're never gonna, you know. And that's why with just like, even though I was naive and I wasn't self-aware about anything, like, just as a kid who was, you know, trafficking and stuff, I just committed to that. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like, oh, just do it for a couple of days. I was like, I'm grinding. Like, I remember I stayed up for literally 3 days, no sleep, because I was committed to like make sure that we were selling it constantly. The guy that I was driving for slept, but I just kept awake because I wanted to make sure that we sold it, and we're on the phone. Someone was there to pick up the phone constantly, because I'm committed to making this shit work, you know. And yeah, I feel like the deadline is good, but maybe I do have I may probably have a deadline. I probably do have it, but I just don't necessarily like set myself one. I just have like maybe I do, because I'm like, okay, this week I can get this fucking shit done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not like due date is October, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I got 3 days, finish it. You know, or like I got 1 hour, finish it. But yes, you know what I mean?
Do you think you suffer from procrastination?
I used to, yeah. I used to heavy. Yeah, I feel like back before this mindset, I was definitely procrastinating a lot. And I'm still learning to make it better. And I can't say that I'm perfect because I'm not. Because sometimes I still procrastinate. But what I do now is that if I feel like procrastinating, then I just do it right now. No matter what, drop everything and do it right now. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't fucking matter, you know, my mom, whatever, whoever. If I'm procrastinating, like, oh, I have to do this later because blah, 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 I'm not doing now. Like, I have like this, I don't know, this might make me look kind of crazy, but I have like these two characters in my head. I have one that's like a fucking masculine, muscular, like Jack motherfucking Pete. And then I also have a pussy Pete. Am I right? Pussy Pete, yeah. Pussy Pete shows up all the time, you know, because Pussy Pete is the one that is like, always says like, yo man, we like not, don't do the last rep. Fine, dude, just chill. Like, why are you working so hard? You know, like, they don't have to finish this beat. Why are you doing that? And then the Pete, like Pistol Pete, always yells at me, but I used to turn him off. Like fuck off. Like, I was just a pussy Pete. But recently, every time Pistol Pete yells at me, I just fucking do it. It's like, no matter what I fucking do, like, even if it doesn't matter what emotions I'm feeling at the time. I'm depressed, I'm stressed, I'm fucking tired. I'm like not emotionally capable to handle whatever it is right now. I just fucking do it. It's just part of being a man. You know, you just have to fucking go and fucking do it. Like, there's no wishy-washy, like, you know. Because think about it, like, let's just take a look at the Titanic, okay? If men weren't men and let women on the boat first, and because they let their emotions control and dictate what they were going to do, like, how pussy would the whole fucking thing be? There'll be like all children and women on the boat, all the men would be on the fucking lifeboats. You know what I mean? You know the Titanic story, right?
Yeah.
So it's like in that kind of situation, it's just like, yeah, your emotions are gonna be trumped by your logic, which is like, I need to be able to save the people because I'm the man. I'm scared. I'm gonna fucking die. I know it, but I'm gonna have to do this because this is what honor and like respect is, you know. So I just go into it like life or death, essentially, and that's how kind of stop the procrastination, because it's like, why procrastinate? This is my dream, one, right? This is like what I want. Your body and your mind is just trying to make you comfortable. It just doesn't want the stress, and that's why it's like, don't do it. You know, just protecting your butt. Women, I feel like you know, up to women, like they could, whatever. I don't want to dog women, but like, as like a man, like you have to, if you want to, like, I'm not forcing every dude that's out there to be like, you have to fucking blah blah blah. It's like, dude, like, if you're crying about like, man, why can't I do anything and can't be successful, blah blah blah, then you like, bro, dude, you're the problem, so just fucking do it. Like, what's wrong with fucking doing it? Like, fail is awesome. I think I was talking about a buddy of mine, and then we were talking about like, I was talking about my career in China as Malasung, and we were talking about it, and he was asking me, he's like, essentially he asked me like, what happened? And I was like, man, I was like, I would never want to live with regrets ever again. And then he's like, why? It's like, what made you come to do that? It was because I was like, I regret that I didn't try my hardest when I had the opportunity in China. I feel like I threw it all away because I was scared to fail. And then he's like, he kept pressing me. He's like, what do you mean? You know, like, I regret that I half-assed everything because I believed at the time that if I worked my hardest and I did my best and I went hard, and then I failed, that means I've really failed. But if I half-assed the work, I have a fucking excuse to be like, I only half-assed it. I didn't really give it a shot. So I failed because You know what I mean? And I regret that decision now because trying to come back as a new artist, I fucking really tell how much fucking work it's taking me to fucking get to where I need to be.
Like, but for those who are not well known, like, do you want to expand a bit on the Malasung situation?
Oh,
That's the thing. Set the tone.
yeah. So like I was a signed artist in China for about from 2017 to at the end of 2017 to 2019, and I was just, I was doing like TV, I was doing like movies, I was like on the music festivals. I was just kind of doing the circuit in Asia, and it was like on the rise over there, just getting like, steadily getting popular. But I threw it all away because I wasn't mentally ready. I feel like at the time, just to be vulnerable and just so people understand, like, I just felt like I wasn't ready for that position that I was in. Even though I was lucky enough to get to that point where I had people backing me, I just feel like I wasn't ready to be in that position to do that. And I just feel like because I put such a big mask in front of my character as Malasung, and that reason was because I was scared to fail. I was scared that if I failed, then I would lose my full identity of who I'm supposed to be. So if I put on a mask, if I failed, Malasung failed. Not me, not Kapa. Malasung failed. So then I would have this disconnect with that. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of a character, I guess, I kind of portrayed, or like I was trying to be, because I was like, one, I didn't have any self-love for myself. So I did not love myself at all. I probably hated myself because of all the things that I've done to people, and just a lot of regrets in my 20s. That I put up like this huge mask, and because of the downfall of my career, it forced me to face the music, or face the devil, face my demons. Because I was wondering, like, what the fuck, like, how did I go from such a high point in my career to like within 1 year to the lowest bottom, where I was like working like a normal job again, and then like I was essentially working in garbage.
Well, but what happened? That's as we were talking about earlier with the label situation.
Yeah. So the label. So I was signed to the artist, and then the label wanted to just not push me anymore, and they wanted to put me behind the scenes, and I was tied to a 10-year contract, and I didn't want to have, because I was 27 at the time. So then by the time I'm out of the contract, I'd be 37. So that means like that's my age, that, and then I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. So then after I got out of it, like, I had to fend for myself. I had to survive. I had to, so obviously I had to find a job, and yeah, to be like at that point where like Rapper China doing all that stuff, and then to be down at the bottom so fucking bad. And I feel like the worst thing is, because I wouldn't say I'm famous, but in the Chinese circle, I was known, like people knew Malasung, you know what I mean? Like and then people recognized me and stuff like that. And like, it was just kind of shitty, because like I was doing this garbage job, and then I was just so scared of people like recognizing me doing this fucking doing trash. Like, I was just so embarrassed. But at the time, I had such a big ego, and my ego didn't die, and I had to like still do it because they just paid the bill, And it was just like a very depressing moment for me, because like, I mean, I'm like people know who I am. They see my face. They'll recognize, like, look, Malasung doing garbage now. What a fucking idiot. And that was the kind of just playing on in my head.
So what do you expect on what led to that?
What led to the
people stop pushing you? You're on Rapper China. You're on the circuit.
Yeah.
And this all happened.
Just they wanted to stop promoting me. Yeah. There was I was talking to my manager at the time, and I was back in Canada, I think that was 2019. I was back in Canada, and then essentially what she told me was like, just like, there's no more flights to fucking China. We're gonna book no more flights for you to China, and you're gonna do mixes for this other artist. You haven't seen anything? Did we talk about something earlier that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, it's like you were doing circuit, and then all of a sudden you're now only doing mixes and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. And it was just mixes for this specific artist, and I guess like at the time I was just like, I had such a big head. Like my head was blown. I was like, full dude for something else. Like fuck that. And I guess it was just a fear of like, okay, I'm now getting put behind the scenes. I'm gonna be doing mixing for people like this fucking. I was like, I didn't want to be in that position because I don't know what my future is now. Like, am I still gonna be mixing for this guy for like the next 7 years? I just didn't want to do that. So I just made the executive decision to like, fuck it, let's just like run. So I talked to my manager. They didn't want to change, so then just kind of ended it, and then never responded to them ever again. And then so then they have my likeness and they have all that stuff. And then leads me to all, because obviously I'm not with a contract anymore, so there's no more money coming in. So and I had a girlfriend at the time. I needed the money. So then I just did like work. I just worked. So, and doing all that stuff, I feel like it was like a lesson that I had to go through, only because of that experience there. Right now, I'm so much stronger. You know, just having to travel through the soot of the burned dreams that I had, and I had to travel through it. You know, being in garbage and doing all that stuff. Dude, it's funny because then like even before garbage, I was doing like kapu. You know what that is? I was doing kapu for a little bit, and dude, it's fucked. People would get on my car, but oh Malasung. And I'm like, no, I'm not, dude. I'm like, I'm that dummy. And like it was just such a depressing moment for me because of like, man, I'm here, like. And then eventually got that garbage job, which had paid really well. And then I just got comfortable, and I just kind of lost myself. I lost myself in the relationship. I lost myself in the stuff I do, and lost my identity. But I think all in all, it's like I was just supposed to go through that, because that journey allowed me to have like a mental fortitude now, where it's just like I used to be so afraid of posting on social media, like. Because I was just embarrassed like about myself, but now like I honestly just feel like I don't have too much fucks to give. Like that, I don't have any more in my pockets to give a fuck about stuff that doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Like, why should I matter about what you think about me when you don't really think about me 24/7? I think about me 24/7, then I should give a fuck about what I think about myself. But you. Why should I give a fuck about you? We're like whoever's on the fucking internet. Why? You only thought about me for that 1 minute that you posted that.
That's what got you really through like digital content posting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it just helped me to be like, okay, how can I make this better now? Because like maybe people are dogging you because of this shit. So how do I make it so I'm undeniable? Because I'm very competitive in spirit. But like the mental always just tends to block what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve. And I feel like it's very strong, especially if you're like not comfortable with yourself. Like you don't know who, you know, like for example, like Aiko, bro, fucking so genuine, that person, you know, like fuck. Like just like when I met her, I was just like, wow, like you're what I'm trying to be. Like I'm trying to be like, you know, myself in front of everybody, no matter the fuck. You know what I mean? And I just find that it's just so encouraging and so inspirational. And I feel like as an artist, they've always said like, you know, you got to be vulnerable in your music. You got to be like, I just never understood that. I guess because like I've always just wanted to protect myself a little bit because I was scared like if I fully let myself out into the world, then like I'm gonna get judged, and then that's me. That's the judge. That's me that's getting judged as a real person, and not so much like the artist, right? And then so that's why I made a commitment to make it so that it's my indigenous name that's on the fucking bill, because that person, the music you're going to hear, is the genuine person that you're going to be meeting in real life. So it's Kapa Arkieh. And then like, I think like, this is just off as on tangent, but like, I feel like one of the successful things that I feel like I was able to be successful with was like my dad. So like my dad was never around as a kid. And I also wrote a song about that. It's called See My Heart Up because my dad's a loser. Because I felt he was a fucking loser. I mean, like, you can't change a person now, but like he's back with us. Like he's back in Canada with us. But like, you know, growing up, I just never had a father to look up to, and then I didn't know what being a man was. You know, I knew what a man was, like just that runs away. Like I didn't know a man, like what a man's supposed to be doing, right? So, one thing that recently that happened was like that my dad said that resonated with me a lot was and it was something that I was like, man, like this is something I was supposed to do, because my dad said to my mom, and it wasn't saying it directly to me, I just kind of eavesdropped and overheard it. She's like, because then my mom was explaining, they were talking about the indigenous name and stuff like that, and then my dad was like, hey, look, your dad's name is now international, it's in Canada now, because the way that indigenous names work is like you take on we usually get named after like a senior, like a grandpa or whatever. Your first name is named after your grandpa, and then your last name is named after your dad. So that's the last name is family. No, the last name is my dad's actual name. So there's no family name. So everything's just like, oh, you're from so and so's kid. It's just like you're named after the elders. And then my last part of my name is so that's my dad's name. So it's like I combine my grandpa's name and then my dad's name into like, let's see, Kapa Arkieh, which is like Kapa is my grandpa and then Arkieh is my dad's name. What does it mean? Essentially it means like Arkieh means royalty, and then Kapa is like a warrior. So it's like essentially what that is, just like yeah, it's just like a warrior spirit, you know. And I didn't know that until like recent. I just searching history and talking to like family members and stuff like that. It's just like, oh shit, that's what that means. Yeah, I got like that, and that's why I kind of because I was like, man, should I just name myself Peter? Because people know me as Peter. But then I was just like, that name, it doesn't really resonate with me, because I only got that name because my elementary school teacher couldn't say some kid, so she decided to name me Peter. Wait, fuck that name. You know what I mean? So then I was just like, okay, fuck it, I'll just use my indigenous name. I mean, it's a little bit harder to remember, but I feel like once it's established, it's hard to forget. Yes, you know, if you tell the meaning, yeah, say that meaning was so powerful, right? Yeah, no, so yeah, and especially. Yeah, the meaning too, you know. Yeah, I think illicit psychology too, because I'm very sensitive with language. I love language, and I want to see somewhere. I love see beauty in language, and that's kind of weird. I love language. But so when I see the Chinese character you are writing, it was gibberish, right? So kind of like, of course, but that's how like, I don't know, for like especially to the Chinese audience, I don't know what it was. Is that what I got confused? Yeah. People were like, people was like, what the fuck is that? Right. Like, 我不会念. They're like, 我不会念这个, 这怎么念? And it's just a box conversation. It's like, it's Kapa Arkieh. And people would say it, there's a Kapa Arkieh. So you say it, yeah. Yeah. Kapa Arkieh, but it's Kapa Arkieh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Arkieh. Yeah. Arkieh is like the food in Taiwan. Yes, it's like a muaji with like stuff in it. Okay, it's like J Chow's favorite food is Arkieh. But the Arkieh. It was you. Yeah, I didn't touch on this Arkieh. What's the last thing been mapping? Pre-COVID, 2019. Yeah, had Arkieh then for sure. Yeah, definitely had Arkieh. Yeah, it's a being loud. Yeah. Plan to go back next year. Try to expand over there too. Just because like I feel like the music probably resonates more over there.
Because I was thinking, right, when you said, she said the way her name was formed, that's very similar to Indonesian names are formed too.
I was gonna say like before she left, her name's Angela, right? Yeah. I was gonna say like Angela. She's like, it's funny how she says like I've never met an indigenous Taiwanese person before, and I was like, you know what? I was gonna be like, you know what's funny? We probably share the same root because a lot of indigenous girls do look like Angela, like the same like darker skin and like big eyes for Asian, and the only reason is because like. And when I first saw it, that she was into me. Oh. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is he into me? And I was like, oh, probably not. But the only reason why, because I don't know if you know the history with this. You do know history. Austronesian, yeah. And the Taiwan Strait, how everybody funneled out. So it's like, we all kind of share that lineage, you know, especially if you're like Austronesian. We all just have that. It's Philippines, Hawaii, all that shit. We all share the same blood because they were just trying to travel. You had to get out, right? And
that's the same. I was saying that maybe that you should look into the demographic, visibility. That's the demographic that can be. It's on that finances too.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried it. I feel like because I don't think I can necessarily come on and say Austronesian because we only know it because we searched it out. Like, you know what I mean? Because you searched it. But I feel like another angle that I can look at doing this would be like, I just target like the actual countries, like those countries. Because I look like them. I kind of look like them, have that feel, the music, like Philippines love R&B, you know, stuff like that. So Taiwan, you know, same thing. Or just, yeah, definitely targeting that Southeast Asia area, you know, kind of like where I'm looking at to make it. But to sell it as an Austronesian, like I've tried it before, just I think the world just isn't ready for it yet. So just wait. We'll have to. It's just the timing. It's just timing. Once the timing is good, boom. I guarantee you, once that Austronesian shit starts popping off, if we're able to bring it to the world, that you're gonna see so much more Austronesian artists just pop up. You know what I mean? And I don't even dream like I used to be very selfish when it comes to music. I was just like, oh no, like I'm gonna keep my shit. Like, you know, I don't want to share with other artists because like if I do, then I'm gonna lose out on like a piece of the pie, or whatever. And it's just like a very selfish mentality to have. But I don't know, like maybe because of my experience in the last 4 or 5 years, like I just feel like I just want to help other people, like in regards to their music, because then this way, one, it elevates me in my musicality, because now I have to kind of, you know, essentially like either help or collaborate, and I have to readjust how I do things because now there's another person. And also, if I see people like yourself that I've known since like you were in high school, and like I see you now still do the music, I just feel such gratitude, and I feel so happy that like, man, like look at, you got your own studio and you're doing your own shit, and it's just like, I might not have done it. I don't want to take credit for your shit, but I just feel like, man, I was like able to fucking kind of insert him, you know what I mean? Like just like give him a little douse of like, hey, the fucking music, and I just want to do that for more and more people. And that's why I feel like it's kind of journey. So like I really want to build like an infrastructure in for the indigenous population in Taiwan, and just have facilities where these kids can just come in and they just make beats, or they could rap, or they could write songs, and they record vocals for free, and we'll just have that thing for them. And then hopefully that'll foster something like what you're doing, and they go out into the world, and now they're creating stuff with other people, and now things just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's, I mean, I don't need to make money off of people. Like, I don't really care about that. But I just feel like the culture and the art needs to get pushed that way. It always used to be like very like, I'm like, yo, man, I'm Malasung, bro. We're gonna all this shit. Like, you wanna do a collab? I'll charge you like fucking $1,000. When you get to college, charge you 1,000. But I feel like if it's for the greater good of the art and the culture, I would like just do it for free. I don't care. I mean, obviously we'll talk behind the scenes and stuff like that, but like I'll do it. If I think it's beneficial to the whole movement, then yeah.
So it got you like very open. It got you to see a lot of things from perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like that's how Spicy got started. Like Spicy Gang, Spicy Gang is not like, it's not like La or like Mala or like anything to do with spicy. It's an acronym for Society Protects Indigenous Culture and Youth. That's what Spicy stands for. It's an acronym. And I want to be able to create that society where we do protect Indigenous children. Well, it's here in North America, anywhere. All the Indigenous kids. I want to be able to be like, look, like we look different, but we can do the exact same thing and possibly be better if we just set our mind to it. And in order to do that, you need to water the grass, right? So we say because they always say the grass is greener on the other side. But it's funny because if you think about it, if you just water the grass where you're standing, that grass will be better than the other side. Most people just don't have the patience to water the grass that they're standing on, right? It's very well said. You know what I mean? Yeah. They build it. Yeah, exactly. Build a wall around your grass. If you build a wall, your grass is gonna be fucking greener than that shit. I feel like that's where the disconnect is with people. So being in a really good place, just been putting it out initially. Really, you see diamond is being fully. It's like what I mean. Like it's very your like trials and tribulations you might be you've gone through the last couple of years. Oh, I should have said Leia. Oh, you're talking about me. Yeah. I mean, I don't honestly, not to like to dwindle your compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But I don't think I'm even close to what I imagine and I see myself doing. I just don't think I'm even close to that. And I feel like I need to now work extra hard in doing this stuff, because I feel like a lot of stuff is riding on my shoulders now. And it's just also part of being a man is just that responsibility. I used to I make music just to fucking woo girls or just to be at the club and just be like, yeah, gang, and do all that shit. But I feel like music and art can just do so much more than just that, and the greats, they do more than that.
It's like you're taking full ownership.
Exactly. It's just why? And you can only fuck around for so long, be it art and performance, whatever it is. You can only do it for so long. And we're only on this earth for probably about 4,000 weeks. Some people are less. Think about that, 4,000 weeks. It's not a lot, man.
At least
4,000, right? And it's just that's why it goes back to the procrastination thing again. It's just why procrastinate when we only have 4,000 weeks, bro? It's you gotta move. Gotta go, And any distractions, anything that kind of distracts you from your true intentions or whatever you need, you have to cut. You have to cut that shit out. It has to be cut. Be a family, be a friend, be a relationships. Is if you feel it's been distracting to your calling, then it's one of those sacrifices that you have to make. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't make those sacrifices to commit to whatever you're trying to do, you'll end up old one day. We're all gonna end up old one day, and you're gonna look back and you're gonna regret it. And I'm not scared of death, but I'm so scared of regret. I'm so scared of it. That's one of the most I don't want to fucking be 80 or 90 if I lived that long, and be looking back, I'm I could have been a fucking dope ass rapper, or I could have been a dope ass painter. I could have, if I didn't commit to this fucking girl that I'm with that wasn't good for me anyways, I could have been something crazier. And I resent my wife or whoever that was. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, is such a scary thought that I'm just like, I need to do everything now. I need to commit now, do everything now. I don't give a fuck. Take the risk. Do it. If you fail and there's something that you really want to get back up and do it again. But don't do it the same way. Readjust, pivot, you know? It's not... Because I used to get tricked a lot. People used to say like, oh, like you failed, just keep doing it, keep trying it. And I used to do it. I'm like, okay, I fail. I keep trying. But then it's just like, you can't fail and then do the same thing and expect to have different results. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people hear about this shit. It's like you failed and then now you reassess why you fucking failed, take away the stuff that you think is going to fail, readjust and do it again. And if you failed, then that means this and this added together didn't fucking work. What do you think else worked? If all of these didn't work, then that means this is garbage. Restart and redo your shit.
Figure out the formula.
Yeah, exactly. It's just and there's like a lot of people who just fucking do the same thing over and over and over again, and they're just like, yo, why isn't this shit working? It's like, well, are you like actually, you know, like planning methodically, like doing it, or are you just fucking posting or like making music just for the fucking fun of it? Like, what are you changing? You know. Because like I don't know if you've heard of this, but life is a fucking circle. If you don't break that loop, generational cycles, like your personal cycles, there's always gonna be the loop. And I experienced that. I've experienced 2 loops now. I realize it. Once in my teenage years, once in my late 20s. I fucking see it. I feel it. I feel the exact same fucking cycle, exact same thing twice. And then I guess that's like why I'm here now. Is like, okay. What is the differences between going to China and then like having that success in China and also me being in that cycle again? What was the differences and what was the same? It was like a comparison chart. You know, the pies we have 2 circles. I just kind of looked at it and then I was like, oh, okay. Well, I can see a few things now. People that I associate myself with, procrastination, discipline, right? And like just self-awareness. And for these fucking things I needed to work on in order to get to like where my mindset is now. And it took a long journey to get here. Just a lot of fucking crawling through the mud, you know? And I feel like that's kind of depends on what you define successful is, but like that's kind of where you're able to not be part of the matrix, I guess, to say, part of the fucking sheep that's in the crowd, because you're able to kind of get yourself out of that and then navigate through this world. You know?
Yeah, it's said mapping it up a little somewhat earlier.
Yeah,
you know,
yes, mapping it up, but like not in a, because you never know. Like we're not God, so we can't predict the future, but we could definitely create it. You know, the choices that we make and the things that we do, we make our future. So I say like, you know, it is funny because I prayed for this. Like I was like, I'm willing to make the sacrifices to become a world-renowned artist. Like, give me the fucking opportunity to do that. And I had to make some sacrifices that put me through some shit. And from those sacrifices, I learned a lot about myself and like what I'm capable of and how my next few years and the journey in this fucking music world is going to be like. And I want to just thank God for that. And I'm going to thank myself for being able to be such a strong mind. Because I feel like I can see why people commit suicide now. You know, I understand it. I have like an empathy toward people that want to kill themselves, and I can see why there was no way out, because I was also there at one point. But because I had such a strong ego, I when those thoughts came, I just couldn't do it, because I just felt like if I did that, then my parents or the people that love me would just have to suffer. And it was like, that's kind of selfish. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't want them to go through that. So it's like, so I internalized it, and I was like, okay, this pain and the suffering that I'm going through, like, if it's better, if it's easier than for my friends and family to go through what they got to go through, then that means I can go through this myself. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what helped me to have this like protection around my mental, my soul, you know. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. All this but yeah, like I think also the reason why I was fucking up so much is because like I was just like Peter Pan. I just felt like I just never wanted to grow up. I always wanted to. I think also was because like I just never had a childhood. You know, I just never go into my teen years and things like that, or even in elementary. I was just always like helping my mom. So I was always like always had to be like on points, like mature, like, you know, I just never was enjoying life as a kid. Like I just never had that like woo like I don't even remember those times. Like you left when I was 6, so it's just like, bro, like from 6 to like I was 21. Like there's at that whole point of childhood, like never experienced it, and so that's why like maybe I always wanted to stay like a kid, because I was like, if I'm a kid, then I could be a kid now that I have money. You know what I mean? I can do whatever the fuck I want, but that also impeded my mental and my and the way that I'm able to move. It stopped my growth personally as a human being, and I feel like in a way, if I stay like that, I don't think I wouldn't even be in Toronto right now. You know, I wouldn't even be making the music that I do now. I'd probably still be the same fucking guy that, you know, was the way that I was. So, and yeah, just a lot of this stuff just kind of helped. But like I said, the universe works in mysterious ways, man. Like you're supposed to learn what you're supposed to learn. People are supposed to be in your life, friends, family, loved ones. Like, some come and go. They're supposed to be there to teach you a lesson, they leave, or they're there to support you for the rest. And it just depends on, like, you know, what the universe wants you to understand and want to know. But a lot of people like me when I was younger, like, just didn't understand that. You know, I was such a naive kid. Like, I was just so naive. I just didn't think anything. Like, it was like, whatever. Like, you know, let the flow be the flow, let it go, you know? And I just never thought about it. And yeah, if I continue that now, I probably won't be doing music in the next few, just because I would just crash and burn. You know, just doing the same thing over and over again, just dumb. It's not as smart, you know? Yeah.
Everything you just said there, man, it's definitely something that I resonate very heavily.
Cool.
The things you said, the epiphanies you've been having, the growth and the maturity. Man, but I think one last question before we end this. I usually ask my guests as the last question is message for the future.
Message for future self?
Whatever. Future could be anything.
Message for the future. I think it would just be like, if it was a message to the future, I would just be like, enjoy everything. Bad or good, just enjoy life, because the time that we're on this earth is such a short time, and if you're living it through just like depressed, or like just looking at things from like a pessimistic viewpoint, you're always not gonna be satisfied with whatever the fuck that you're looking for. But if you enjoy every single moment and be present in the time that you're with, like, be it like us right now, you know, I'm enjoying our conversation, like, you know, even the grind, like the process of like having to figure out whether or not this content works, how to shoot it, blah blah blah, cut, edit it, and we're making the music, just kind of enjoy and have fun. I feel like life would be a lot easier to digest, even through the rough times, you know, even through the bad times. Even
feel like if you can just enjoy it and just look at it from optimistic standpoint, then you know your future would be very much easy, you know, because like I mean like because we're so young. If we don't work hard now, there's gonna be a hard life later, you know. So might as well just fucking enjoy the hard work, enjoy the fucking shittiness, and in the future really enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? You know. So I think that's what I would say for the future.
Wow. It's a good way to end it.
Cool. Yeah, it was
Thanks
fun.
for having me here.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for
Alright.
having me, man.
Thank
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's fun.
Nice. Nice.